Welcome to the Interagency briefing for using GSAVA, FSS for MedSurg and PPE. Nothing going on with PPE these days, Tony Bryant.
A lot going on with PPE.
So we appreciate it. We know there's a lot of folks here that are reopening or getting ready to reopen. We have folks from VA. Certainly appreciate you, Dylan, and the rest of the folks there. Also from the Navy. I saw one pop in from the Air Force as well. So we're good shape in that in our armed forces, but we want to welcome everybody for joining us. Today whoa, I went the wrong way. Here we go. We'll get you introduced to Tony and what he does. And he's a 65 2A holder right there, Tony.
Oh yeah.
Excellent. Talk about the briefing controls and how you can participate. Some of the challenges that you folks are seeing, especially as a lot of agencies are buying PPE that never had to buy it before. So we appreciate you guys being here on that. Some of the best practices, we'll talk about vehicles and access of those and get to your Q&A and some procurement options as well as additional resources. If you would like to make us larger or smaller or whatever you happen to prefer as far as your presentation is concerned, you can open that little pop thing up top and choose side by side and adjust this with this little doodah. I have no idea what the heck else to call it, but a doodah. Session handouts. Let me get those in here right this minute. Hold on a second. Whoa. Let me go back on those pieces and we'll get to those. I'm going to pop this in the chat for folks to be able to grab these. These are located on GovBrief, so you can download those. It's the presentation A2A capabilities. We can't attach them here. Zoom doesn't let us do it. So we'll make sure we do that a couple of times. So anybody that comes in late can have some of those. So this will be the best briefing ever. Colleen puts the bar really high here, Tony. She needs to learn something new. So hopefully we can give her something new. Chris, who's a contracting specialist at VA, come up with search engines and immediately verify that an item matches a vehicle to buy against. I do believe we'll talk about that. Gain understanding of the process from IRS. Fantastic. We'll hope we can at least get you some of that. Joanne, I want to learn more about GSA eBuy and GSA Advantage. We'll be talking about that as well. Sharita, there's no technology issues with the training video. Well, I don't know. Are you here? I can't tell if you're here yet, but we'll hopefully you're not having issues with the connectivity. Please address sterile compacting supplies, for example, Max Mop Head and Centro Micro Cinch Pads. I think you know something about those, Tony. Monica, we're giving authorized vendors to purchase N95 masks. I do believe you will have at least one, if not a lot more. How about this one? Sharita says about NAC Pharma mandatory contracts. What do you know about that, Tony?
A lot.
There you go. We'll talk about that as well. From IHS, verifying vendor qualifications to sell PPE. Got that covered. And M. Kathy, a quick and efficient ways to order items needed off hours on holidays and weekends. Hey, guess what? I think we're going to do it, Tony.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be able to answer all those questions.
Yeah.
If you would like to participate, you can raise your hand. You can use your chat function and your Q&A. You can kick things in there. If you have something that you like to take offline that you don't want everybody else to see, Gov support at A2A-logistics.com will get you where you want to go. Quick disclaimer, this event is not affiliated or endorsed by any agencies, provided to the audience for informational purposes only. This allows you to participate with us. This was given to us by GSA, by the way. And it is not an indication or endorsement of purchase from anybody, including Tony, even though he has the best looking background. I don't know. I like my background. So there you go. So what brought you guys here today? Let's get this rolling. Is it because, let's launch this. You purchased MedSurg products. I need to solve a PPE supply issue. Some of those happening, Tony. Handle healthcare, medical, pharmaceutical staffing. I purchase pharmaceutical products, or my boss may become. Somebody's got to be a Weisenheimer and choose that last one for sure. So we've got folks that do pharmaceutical so far. You guys can answer it. It's not hard. And while we're waiting on that, we'll talk a little bit about A2A. You mentioned you're in North Carolina today, right?
That's correct.
So tell us a little bit about A2A and how you got started.
Well, as it states there, we're a service-disabled veteran-owned company, so all the contracting and the experience that we got in the government was from being actual soldiers and using the services of contract companies, as well as working as myself and my other guys included, working as directors, executives, and contractors on contracts with big prime contractors such as Halliburton and DynCorp and R4 Engineering, Raytheon, and Allianz Science, all these other big guys. And we got our chops and cut our teeth back in 2010, officially incorporated in 2011, after the big boys that we work with said, you know what, you guys do a good job. And when we look at you, we think of unconditional support. So we're like, we're doing all this stuff now. So they say, you know what, you guys really need to think about opening up your own company. And we said, okay. So at literally at about 2 a.m. in 2011, we're in Afghanistan, went to a little bee hut, went to mynewcompany.com, and basically A2A Integrated Logistics was born.
So you birthed, wait a minute, let me make sure I get this straight. You birthed your company from Afghanistan?
I birthed my company from Afghanistan, literally.
That's a new one on me, man. Well, congratulations.
So 6 months, and the company I was working for at the time, basically they gave us the CEO. Next thing I know, I was talking to my boss at the time. He was international operations president of, Stars in the Moon and Above and everything. And he basically told me, it's widely rumored that you're taking my position as the new guy. And I looked him in the eye and said, hey, I appreciate it, but I'm starting my own company. And the next day I got a call from the CEO who said, hey, Tony, I heard you're starting your own company. And I was like, yeah, I am. And he goes, I said, am I fired? And he goes, no, quite the contrary. Don't do it by yourself. Come back to New Jersey, on ACC New Jersey, and we want you to do it with us. And we want you to open that company up. And we're going to give you a little shingle to hang out, on your door there. And we're also going to get you in the technology incubator in New Jersey on the base there at ACC, New Jersey and Picatinny. So that's what we did. And 6 months later, we won our first $3.5 million contract with U.S. Transcom Surface Deployment Distribution Command.
That's great. That is
moving everything from hammers to helicopters. So we were only in business literally 6 months before we won our first one. And it's just been a rocket ever since. And we're here where we are today, part and parcel, and a big part. We work with one of our customers, biggest customers is the VA right now because of the service disabled veteran-owned small business requirement. The VA came a-knocking in 2015-ish, 16-ish, and basically said, hey, we got this problem. We still need to work with, we got this ruling from the Supreme Court, but we still need to work with prime contractors that can do the job and that have past performance and have their own money, stuff of that nature. That we wanted to be competent. We just don't want to be awarding to folks. And they said, you guys are doing all this.
Competency. Are you kidding me? Competency.
Yeah. So we started off with a little contract here and there, purchase orders here and there. And today we support approximately 100 clinics under the Department of Veteran Affairs on a contract. We're sub on some big prime contracts, and we just won the RHRP contract, $998 million value with Leidos.
Wow.
And we've just won a Navy contract with the Navy doing technician support. So we've got a lot of rich past performance. We're diverse. I know some folks look at us and goes, wow, you guys are doing like some of everything. And it's like, no, we're very specific in the 5 things that we do. And we're just really good at it. It looks like we do a lot of stuff, but it's all in the realm of medical logistics support and technician support. So,
and that's where you got A2A Logistics from. Imagine that.
Yes, sir.
A2A Logistics. So yeah, the reason why Tony's here is because number one, he's got a couple of these contracts that we're highlighting today. He also has great past performance and exceptional CPARs in everything that he does. So a little bit more about what you do. You have your McKesson strategic partner, but besides that, you have a lot of activities you mentioned across the board in VA. And you just got this, the last one you said was a facility O&M yesterday or something?
Correct. We're doing a Navy contract, another O&M contract support to the APL 50 and the vessels that come in, and also the peripheral support vessels to the USS Pasadena. So
that's well. Excellent. Well, there you go, folks. So he knows what he's doing. So we'll be talking about some of the common issues that you have here with we still have supply chain problems, right? You talk about logistics and supply chain. Identifying the authorized distributors is an issue with a lot of folks. production delays, delivery delays, and limitations from existing contracts that you're used to using, especially if you're not in the VA or dealing with health type issues. So I'm going to ask this question: what is your biggest issue when it comes to MedSurg supply? Is it availability? Is it cost? Delivery delays? Product quality issues? We've had a lot of that, right, Tony? Happening. Somehow I lost your vocals.
A lot of quality issues. You should be able to hear me now.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, there's been a lot of quality issues with PPE on both sides, supply side, and all kinds of stuff with buy side and everything.
And then finding qualified vendors, vendor support, or something else. There's a lot of people. It's interesting because we did a supply chain briefing last month on a topic just like this. And one of the issues, that's what a lot of the issues, a lot of folks that are here today had the same thing coming in saying, hey, we can't either get to the stuff, or we want to make sure this stuff is legitimate and on contract. So we'll get to that, and we're going to end that bad boy. Thank you very much for that. And tell us what a GSA/VA FSS is, and they're kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah, GSA, VA, FSS. GSA is the big umbrella governing body, and the VA Federal Supply Schedule is the actual schedule of contracts underneath the GSA umbrella, if you will. Some parts of GSA are owned by, the big GSA body, and then the other parts are still maintained. I guess you would call it OpCon to VA, FSS to VA, and then admin, AdCon to GSA. So that's the best way to explain that without getting too military-ish in our jargon. But anyway, so you've got the big brother support from GSA, which houses all the different contract vehicles, the different, different named GSA vehicles. And then you got VA, FSS, which are about 7 main or 8 main different schedules that belong to the Department of Veteran Affairs. And these are contracts that are, pre-negotiated, pre-qualified by the VA in terms of pricing, the vendors, the OEMs that you're using, the IFC or the internal facility fee that you give back to the VA, the access to the products, the shipping costs, all that stuff is baked into the actual contract. So what you have are all these pieces that normally need to be worked out in a bidding war. You have pre-qualified vendors that make an offer to the VA, and the VA selects them and awards them contracts with that pricing that are pre-approved for the government to buy on. Yep. Having said that also that pre-approval gives you the baseline for blanket purchase agreements and indefinite delivery and indefinite delivery and determinate quantity contracts for the government to. And
I that's one of my favorites, by the way. Is we've helped a lot of different folks in helping in the contracting world actually utilize GSA numbers for that exact purpose. It gives a lot of more flexibility and speed, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. You mentioned some of the contract vehicles that VA has. These are the ones between VA and GSA, 65-2A being the big dog, right? And then the rest of these, you can find MedSurg and PPE in each one of these categories and contracts. So it's not just on 65-2A, but the vast majority are there, right?
Correct. You have, because some of what they have in the different contract vehicles are specialty item numbers by category, and some don't fit in the MedSurg but fit in the 66-3 and vice versa. So, drugs and biologicals, those are all your creams, lotions, OTC, all the other type of pharmaceuticals. And that's kind of governed by the NAC, the National Acquisition Center, as well as a 65-2 alpha, but the pharmaceutical, drugs and biologicals, 61. So that's really, that falls into the major category, but that is also known as pharmaceutical preparation and manufacturing.
Yep, and you'll find PPE in office products as well as
you'll find it everywhere.
Yeah,
industrial gloves, breathers, all kind of stuff.
Yep. But in any event, I think the biggest one that folks will probably be interested in is 65-2A. You mentioned 65-2 alpha because you're from the military.
Oh yeah.
And
old habits die hard.
That's right, man. Every time I'm talking to him, he's got to use all the code words. All right, so here you mentioned a couple of those, but you'll find that there's multiple categories here, and if you're not from the VA, if you're from the VA, you're using all these things, right? But if you're not from the VA, you'll find that you have access to these as well, right?
Yes, you will. You can use, if you're not from the VA, this is still open to all federal and even state agencies now.
Yep. So, and that's really important to know, is that your GSA and VA have done a great job in being able to build it so everybody has access to the contracting vehicles to make it easy. And there's a couple of real reasons why this works very well for everybody. And there's a lot of folks that were asking this on the way in, right? Is tell me how I can find these things, right? Well, GSA Advantage is probably the best way. If you're just you can search, right? You can do point search, point, click, and buy, right? You fill in the quantity. So now you show up on GSA Advantage. What's one of the products that you just mentioned the other day that you're really doing well with is sutures? Is that what it was?
Correct. Sutures, healthcare carts, paracentesis pumps, surgical lubricants. Those are the top 4 that we're seeing a lot of. We got 1,000 products on our catalog, but those are some real fast movers.
So what happens? Why is all of a sudden people turning to you as opposed to another vendor?
Well, I mean, we have pre-negotiated pricing. I mean, it's a point and click. We come to the top of the list because of the requirement for the socioeconomic set-asides there. You know, the VA in general has to, wants to order from us first to meet that. But as well as what they're finding, we had a contract officer contact us the other day and said, hey, I just found out that we've been buying from another vendor and they're probably, close to 15% above your price. So I don't know how we missed you, but we're not going to miss you anymore. So they were buying from another vendor and they just redid their whole system in Florida, Tampa Bay, Orlando, Bay Pines, to buy from us whenever they need those particular products from now on. So, and that's a repeat buy, pretty much bi-weekly. Buy for us. But case in point, they know when they place an order with us, and they go through the GSA Advantage system that it's all a point and click away. Once they order from us, the order goes in, we track the order, track the order. We do our side for order management. And then the portal lets them know when it's coming, how much is coming, if there are any issues, how it's coming. So if it's UPS, FedEx, or whatever, it's all baked into the system. And it's a very easy dialogue back and forth with the contract officer or the purchasing agent. And as well, they can, once they see that they have a real recurring need and they want to use something more robust instead of calling me up and paying on a credit card or trying to do it online, or if it goes above the amount of the impact card and they know they need that product, then they have the baseline for the pricing to set forth on a blanket purchase agreement or some type of contract structure so that they have the ease in contracting. They don't have to take it out for all these bids. Plus, we're 8A certified, so it's all baked in. They've got a vehicle in the sense to where it's pre-codified and succinct in the product and the categories that they need, and then they have 2 or 3 different simplified acquisition strategies in order to get to us through the 8A contracting. Going through 8A and just giving us the J&A that way, or doing it, based upon doing a BPA based upon our pre-negotiated terms of the contract as well as pricing and all that stuff. And
you can use, if you're talking to vendors like Tony, you can use the GSA pricing as a guideline. And I would assume that if they came to you and said, hey, we need 1 million of these things, that you might give them a little break.
Definitely. That's always a deal because, I mean, and to tell you the truth, the OEM and the if we're reselling the product, if it's not one of our products, because we do have our own brands. A2A Elite is the overall brand for our products in application for medical device, as well as our own hand sanitizer that we've got about 6 million units in rotation around the United States and in the government. But when they come to us, of course, if they're going to place an order of some longevity, I can either go to the OEM or myself with my own product. I can say, yeah, based upon this, we have scalability and economies of scale. So it costs, the more we make, our price kind of goes down because we can kind of predict the raw materials needed, the people needed and everything else. And it allows us to control the cost of the supply chain a lot better. And once we get that discount, we pass that on to the government accordingly.
And that leads right into GSAE buy, which somebody else asked a question about earlier, was GSAE buy. It's a great place to be able to source, right? You can use that as an RFI instead of just an RFQ. You can shoot out an RFI. You can do your sourcing. You can find out if there's enough service disabled folks to make it a choice of two, or you may find an 8A that you could run it through, which is sole source, obviously. But you have, you can, and you mentioned it for GSA Advantage as well. Your socioeconomic categories are boom, right there in front of you. So you can meet your socioeconomic category goals. You can source from there if you'd like to float maybe a reoccurring. It could be recurring, or it could just be, hey, I need to find somebody that can fill this particular order. And that works across the board. We're talking about PPE right now because there's a lot of people from different agencies that are opening up or looking to open up. And what are they going to do when they need the masks to be able to, and the other PPE supplies? You mentioned your hand sanitizer, right?
Right.
You don't have to ship them in beer cans anymore, right?
No, that's a preference.
So yeah, for those of you who don't know, that's what happened last year. They were shipping all kind of stuff in various containers, alcoholic containers. It was the alcohol manufacturers that were filling them with. Anyway, but I love the fact that you can also use it for blanket purchase agreements. Do you have current BPAs in place with different?
I do. I have BPAs in place for all lab contracts in about 6 different divisions. So we do clinical diagnostic analyzers that falls underneath GSA 66.3 Alpha, and on that we do all the reagents, the cold chain supply, your for clinical diagnostic, point of care, CLIA wave machinery. That we test everything from COVID to MRSA to strep to blood, the blood count, blood procedures, glucose testing, urinalysis. I mean, you name it, we help test for it. And we set the BPA up. It's just like a copy machine, right? Except, you can't interchange, ink and toners like you can do with copy machines now, right? But if you get for example, if you get a CareSmart or a Roche Liat or a Bechtel Dickinson machine, you have to have Bechtel Dickinson matching reagents. Right. Excuse me, and the appropriate cartridges and canisters and the reagent kits that's cold chain distributed. The big difference between us and other vendors that they don't have the capacity or the teamwork or the relationship to get those products delivered in 24 to 48 hours like we do.
And so they can do the same thing with PPE or any of these to create a BPA. They can
correct. And you want to get on contract with a BPA. While we were talking, I had 3 phone calls for cold chain product, and we're trying to get some of these other folks that are up to speed to say, look, you don't have to use your credit card to order $4,000 worth of reagents. If you just put it on a contract, you're going to save yourself money. You're going to save the agency money, the taxpayer. I mean, we're going to be an all-around good steward of the taxpayer dollar because we can go back and get you some really, really good pricing if we're doing this, long term. Yeah. So that's and the reagents, if you have to have, and it's certain, one of the other things, and this is more of a supply chain thing that's come about, you will not be able to deliver cold chain across the United States if you don't have the appropriate licensing. We're licensed in approximately 32 states. So anywhere that the VA kind of needs to their main facilities with a high traffic foot count, we're there, and we can do it underneath, our several different contract vehicles.
Yeah, and I love that you understand BPAs as well. That you can help them manage that. If they'd like to create a BPA, you'll be glad to help them walk through that process. And I've done it as well back in my former days. But yeah, so one of the other
they're using carbon paper back then to write BPAs, weren't
they? Yeah, stone tablets, right? So yeah, but one I love this at the bottom. You see this where there's a little asterisk, but one of the coolest things about it is that all of the contracting mechanisms are all baked into what GSA has created. You don't have to create it yourself, right? Everything is there. You can do it, and it builds the PO and as well as the contract language if you're using either one of these programs, because it goes into ECMS, right? So, and tracking and usage is all built in there. And as far as best practices, just so that you guys know, it just out of the gate, it helps you to verify and validate that the vendor actually has the capacity to do what they need to do, right? Not only that, fast access to product, but here, if you're looking at another issue is BAA and TAA compliance. Had a little bit of issue with that last year, didn't we?
100%.
Yeah, man. It was crazy when the whole PPE thing started last year and things went berserk. But it gives you the ability to trace as well. And you've been saying this, the BPA is not just good, it's good for everybody, because you can drive the price, you can negotiate pricing, right? And then the paperwork is a whole lot easier when you're executing on a BPA, right? So after you cough yourself to death.
Yeah, the paperwork is 100%.
Yes, it's a lot easier. It's much faster turnaround. And what about your the past performance? How does that work with using a BPA?
Well, it's literally it's baked in, right? So you see the past performance. I mean, you have your normal CPARS system, contract performance assessment reporting system, right? And then you've got your BPA. You've got your past performance on several different task orders. If you're issuing task orders against, a BPA,
and you can see the quality of the vendor just right there, right?
Exactly.
And the CPAR. And I think that's what. As I work with contracting officers and talk with contracting officers, that's one of the biggest benefits for using BPAs, the speed, less paperwork. I'm not the paperwork guy, so I hate paperwork from the beginning. So anything that's faster is better. You'll fire me real fast if you're expecting paperwork from me. All right, let's ask this question. We'll get to some. Hold on a second. We'll get to your Q&A in just 1 second. I'm not sure what's happening with it. All right, so here we go. So when do you expect a MedSurg? We're in Q3. Can you believe we're in Q3, Tony?
No, not at all.
It is crazy.
Crazy.
Absolutely crazy. So we'll leave that for a minute, and we're going to get to some participation here. I had some questions from the beginning. Let me see if I can call those bad boys up from the beginning. Let's see. Sharita was asking about the NAC Pharma mandatory contracts. What does that mean?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. I don't know the answer to that.
No, I thought you were asking Sharita. No, the National Acquisition Center mandatory pharma contracts are contracts for different pharmaceuticals and biologicals that have to be maintained on the formulary to meet various purchasing contract vehicles. You got stuff that the prime pharmaceutical vendor, if it's on the formulary, if it's on the mandatory contract, then they purchase that as well from a myriad of vendors. And you have also things that are purchased, for the CMOPs in particular. Now, the CMOPs,
for those of us who aren't mopping things, what are CMOPs?
Right. The CMOPs are the Consolidated Mail Outpatient Pharmacies, right? They're all over. There's 7 of them. We sell to all 7. And they're out of a formulary, I would say, of about 17,000 items now. They buy everything from acetaminophen to arthritis creams to eye drops, you name it. Looking at, if you were able to see the CMOP map, you would see that there are 7 of them. They're located in Tucson, Arizona, Lancaster, Texas, Fort Leavenworth, Hines, Illinois, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Charleston, South Carolina, and Chelmsford, Massachusetts. And we're pharmaceutically licensed in all 7 of those states, where if you could imagine a big Amazon warehouse, the medicine comes in and then it goes out and shoots out to all the different veterans and supports the veteran in their home, literally direct to patient prescription medications. And part of
There you go. Angel says she agrees with you. There's 7 CMOPs and 2 meds by mail locations.
Med by mail is in Georgia and Oklahoma.
There you go.
And I'm going after that contract.
And I'm putting in the links to the documents again for anybody that showed up late. So they're right there, so that you get the capabilities as well as so there was a question earlier. I'm not even going to try to name, but they know who they are. Sterile compounding supplies, max mop head, micro cinch pads. Where's the best place to purchase those if they're what contract vehicle?
I would say you could get that out of MedSurg, or you could even get it out of your industrial supply, your facilities, contract vehicles. You might even find it in the ones related to chemicals,
Yeah, that's true too. I agree. We did that, Sharita. I think we asked that question for you, Sharita. Mark was talking about, from IHS, was talking about verifying vendor qualifications to sell PPE. That's baked into, if you're buying it off of a VA or GSA schedule, that's already baked in, right?
That's correct. It's done. You don't have to do any more vetting. If you find a service disabled veteran-owned supplier and they have PPE that you're looking for, or if it's not on contract, but you can see that they do medical, you can always give us a call and we can definitely get it for you. And if there's enough and it makes financial sense, we'll do a modification for the contract and add what you need.
Yep.
And now modifications only take between 8 to 10 business days to get done.
Really?
Supposedly.
Hey, we'll leave that for another day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We will leave that for another day.
They've gotten a lot faster though. I've heard it from the out in the ethos too. The rumor reel is pretty fresh and good, and they're saying that modifications are a lot better.
Well, we may or may not be talking in the future about NASA Soup, because you're on as a partner for that, right?
Oh yeah, we definitely shall.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another day. That's for IT stuff. So
IT and IT health as well.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So we're pushing a lot of IT health on NASA Soup because there's a lot of categories, but IT health is one of the ones that we're on, and we're pushing my medical images on that.
Oh, right. I tell you what, I know Joanne Wojtek she runs the NASA Soup program. Mm-hmm. Super quality individual, super bright. So I can't sing enough praises for her. Quick and efficient ways to order items needed off hours on holidays and weekends. I think GSA Advantage would be the clincher right there, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
It's always available.
Yep, it's always available. You can search it and all the pieces there. Hang on one second. Let's see what else we got here. So Angel says Dublin, Georgia, and Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Yes, there you go. Cheyenne, Wyoming.
So there it is. I don't know what
by mail.
I don't know what ROFL stands for. Is she laughing at me?
She's laughing at me because I think I said Oklahoma.
I'm not sure what that means, but hopefully
he's laughing because I was wrong. It's not. It's in Wyoming. It's not Oklahoma.
There you go.
We just got an Oklahoma license, so I was looking at Oklahoma, but Meds by mail is Dublin, Georgia, and Wyoming.
There you go. So all right, very laughing because of all the modification turn. Yeah, that's probably she's laughing because of the modification turnarounds. Is what she said.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So she wasn't busting on you too bad.
No, but it's good. She reminded me to make sure I had the right statement.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we'll like I said, we will discuss modification turnarounds. Leave that for another day. And maybe something that includes alcoholic beverages, or at least Starbucks, for crying out loud. Something that are
right.
Awesome. So we'll definitely do that. So real quick, you don't have, as I mentioned earlier, you do not have to buy from anybody, well, including A2A Logistics, but we have you can purchase, as you mentioned, you're 8A, right?
I am.
So, and you're also service disabled. So that gives you
Service
at
disabled.
least two of the combos that really help. And not to mention, you're on 65-2 Alpha as I absorb myself into your community of using words to describe letters. But yeah, and you have a bunch of BPAs
Phonetics.
and IQs. What's that?
Phonetics.
And then if they do need some additional certifications, you have some hub zones and woman-owned and things like that you can help with.
Correct. We're in North Carolina hub, which is at the state level, but we can partner up and get hub zone done. I've got several women-owned small businesses that I work with.
Yeah. And that's great, and we appreciate it very much. So with a recap for next week, you will be getting early next week. You'll get a recap of this briefing, as well as the capabilities linked to the video and the ability to connect directly with Tony. Tony, how much do you charge to talk to people? I know it's absorbent in amount.
I don't charge. I charge a beer normally.
You can't do that to the government.
I know. Hey, I'm always here for folks that want to learn, and folks that just want to learn about us, or just want to learn about what, how to get, what we're doing and how we got to where we are. We're always open to educating, and we're always looking for strategic partners as well.
And that's true too. And the folks in the government, and Tony knows a lot about the internal workings as well. That can help you with the paperwork and help you get things through. That's what it's about. So we'll do that. So we're gonna go ahead and let everybody go. Thank you very much for joining us. We did it within the 40-minute time frame. Tony, I cannot believe that between the two of us, we did this within 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's because you didn't talk as much,
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was. Last time we did the supply chain, it went a little long, I think.
Yeah, that was something else.
But we do, Tony, I appreciate what you do. Thank you for your service.
No problem. Always here to help. Let me know if you need anything, and let's go get some things done. Let's go help some people.
There we go. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you guys for joining us.
All right, guys.
We'll get this kicked out, and we'll make sure that you get what you need in the deliverables. So thanks for joining us at GovBrief. You can reach me if you need GovBrief stuff. You can reach out there. Otherwise, T. Bryant at A2A-Logistics.com, and that is the way to go. And we got you done. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the feedback. Thanks, Angel. See you guys.